Ray, welcome to the Freedom Footprint Show.
Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it.
You have that one up.
Yeah.
Cheers.
We have the great American Egyptian commando in the house.
Something like that.
So, Ray, would you give our listeners the TLDR on who you are and why you're in this room?
My name is Ray Youssef. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm also first-generation immigrant to America from Egypt. I came over when I was 2 years old, not alone, naturally. My father went first, and my mother brought me and my sister over. And my parents were pursuing the American dream, and they were doing so because there's no opportunity back home where they were, which is sad and kind of insane considering how rich of a country Egypt is. But looking back on my life and coming to know the world as I have, there's a lot of countries like that. Nigeria, the entire global south, basically. These countries are loaded with natural resources, brilliant young people. And there's no opportunity there, so we came to the West. We had a hard life. I grew up in Hell's Kitchen in New York in the 80s and 90s, working in my parents' newsstand, which was quite the education on how to do business on the street, yet it served me well. Then I became an entrepreneur. It just means no one would hire me, so I taught myself how to code. Started building websites, and ironically enough, for over 20 years, all my startups were peer-to-peer. All of them were peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer music, peer-to-peer ringtones, peer-to-peer file sharing, peer-to-peer everything. Just trying to cut out the middleman, right? And every single startup that I had, the problem was always billing, right? And then I discovered peer-to-peer electronic cash, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute now. This might solve my problem. That's why I'm here, because I've spent the past 8 years building a peer-to-peer marketplace.
Yeah.
Years on top of Bitcoin. And I got about 13 million users in Africa and the global south. Some really big wins in that last project, in that besides being a bootstrap company, that's always nice, but I never took VC money. Say no to the man. No judgments. With number one, we got the first Bitcoins into Africa, which is extremely difficult because it's hard to get money out of Africa. So how are the Africans going to pay for the Bitcoin from the Americans, Europeans, and Chinese? So we had to figure out a hack there, and I'll happy tell you how that hack happened. But the best thing for me was that watching how the Africans use Bitcoin taught me about what Bitcoin was truly good for. Because they're the ones that showed me, hey, this is not just a store of value or a speculative asset class. It's not about the price, it's about the purpose. And their purpose was to solve their biggest problem, which is that they can't move their money around. Their money is trapped. If you want to send money from Nigeria to Cameroon, they're off getting on a bus with a suitcase full of cash. Because the inter-SWIFT Pan-African banking system is even worse than the Western banking system, right? And there's all kinds of issues there, but the Africans basically showed me what Bitcoin was truly good for. It's about the purpose, and that is as a medium of exchange rather than the price. So thank you to them, and because I listened to them, that's why I'm here. People respect me, not because I'm the smartest guy in the room, but because I had the sense to humble myself, go to the global south, talk to the actual customer, and listen to them, and here I am.
So what trends do you see in the world right now? Where is the global south going, and maybe more importantly, where is the Western civilization going? Like, if you can even call it that at this point.
Yeah. Well, I kind of saw the writing on the wall about 15 years ago when I started waking up, and the more I woke up, the more rabbit holes I fell down. I just became disgusted. I looked around me. I'm here in New York City in the middle of this kind of Western civilization where all the money is, and the UN is right across the street, and the State Department was right across the street, and the big JP Morgan was right across the street. I'm in the center of it all. And I remember sitting there. I was actually homeless at the time because I went down this rabbit hole. All I did was devour books. And I'm sitting there across the street from the Council of Foreign Relations. This is the place where all the world wars were started. I'm sitting there, some Domino's pizza crust that I got from the garbage, the raw dough. And I'm looking at this place, and I'm like, am I ever going to make a change in this world? Like, by then I was a crazed conspiracy loon just by myself and homeless as well. And I just remember looking at that building and wondering, How are we going to stop this? And so at that point, I was totally disgusted. I was looking for a way to make a difference. And magically, I discovered Bitcoin, and it reawoke the fighter in me because I saw a path to victory at that point. Because I understand that this battle for humanity, and that's exactly what it is fought in 4 different dimensions, right? Pillars of power, you could also call them. The first and most important is the spiritual. That's our base. Looking around me in America, it was gone, man. The goal of every enemy general is to demoralize your opponent. Well, America was demoralized. It's a corpse. I looked at it like, damn, we're not going to win that one. Not here. The global south is a different story. They still have that spiritual centeredness, And the second dimension is military, physical combat. Not going to win there. These devils have the biggest navies in the world. No fucking chance, right? And the third is the information war. And back then, it was totally locked down. Social media was around. But right now, we're starting to see social media really pick up, giving people a voice, and they're starting to change the narrative. However, looking at that and thinking adversarially, as I always do, the tactics of the dark side is simple. They know the sons and daughters of Adam, that's us humans, are very forgetful creatures. So all they have to do is keep lying, wait till we forget, wait till we get tired, wait till we get more desperate, and then rinse and repeat. So we can't win there either, at least not on that front without backup. So the first dimension, or the fourth dimension really, and the most important pillar of power is the financial. At first, use that to buy media control, program our minds, and gain control of our armies. And then move the chess pieces around and have more power after every round, right? We're in round 3 right now. So we have to focus on that financial pillar. We have to take on first. And the only way to do that by solving the biggest problem in the world, which is the money problem. Yeah. It's not that there's not enough money to go around, because money is just work. And there's 3 billion unemployed young people in the world that really want to work. All we have to do is give this world this new global financial architecture that it needs so people can trade with each other. That is truly the mission of Bitcoin, right? It's not just to have a wallet. It's so that we can trade. Satoshi Nakamoto knew that. The first version of Bitcoin Core had all these marketplace functions. I happen to be the only guy that built a marketplace organically in Bitcoin. So, hey, we're going to make it unstoppable, permissionless, and decentralized. And the global south will be the ones to lead it. All we need to do is deliver this path to them. And we're going to see rapid change. Rapid change, as in within 5 years, you could start seeing breakaway civilizations all throughout the global south. I know it sounds crazy. Wow. Is Wakanda really possible? Well, yeah, it really is. I mean, Zimbabwe was on the course to be the next Wakanda. And then what happened? $1 trillion notes.
Yeah.
Mugabe's evil. And it just doesn't stop. And they went the way of Venezuela. And it just happens every single time you have a civilization that is ready to break away, they get smashed. It doesn't matter if they're black or if they're white, like the Yugoslavians. Yugoslavia was like a superpower in Europe. Their own space program, and then balkanized, broken up into pieces. This dark entity out there doesn't care if you're black, white, brown, yellow. It's going to come after you. If you're getting too rich, you're taking care of your people too well, or you're going to get the boot now. And that's constant trend. Once the global south has leaders that are not afraid, then things will change. Now, the reason these leaders in the global south are afraid to stand up to this entity, it's simple. They might be nice guys. They might want to help their people. I believe most of them do. But their bank accounts are in London, Paris, and New York.
Mm-hmm.
So they step out of line. That's it.
Yeah.
That's why the global south needs, it stands the most to benefit from solving this problem, the money problem. And once we solve it for them, they will pick the entire world up together. Even the West, as it's spiraling down now into destruction, and it absolutely is. In fact, I think the whole West has been a corpse, or at least America, for the past 20 years. Really since they got JFK, honestly, and the Catholic Church. It all happened around the same time. They destroyed the moral fiber of the country, and it's just been chopping it down ever since. But as the global south rises, and it will pick up the entire world. That's what I believe. I do believe I answered the question.
Yeah. So what's the money situation in Egypt? Like, is Egypt? This is just the lead up to the joke. Is Egypt the pyramid scheme? Like,
Yeah, it's just a scam at this point.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing is just it doesn't even qualify as a scheme. It's just a scam. Like all the economies of the global south are basically a huge scam set up by these, central bankers that incentivizes corruption. People always ask me, Egypt is an African country, or at least it used to be culturally. And then once Gamal Abdel Nasser died, they took Egypt away from Africa and put it with the Middle East. And that was a mistake. Unfortunately, the Egyptians ended up being second or third rate Arabs instead of first rate Africans. This was all by design. So, the financial system in Egypt is just like the rest of the global south. It is basically a vassal state. And if you go to the Minister of Economics in any global south nation, their number one concern is, do we have enough money in the bank, meaning hard money, meaning dollars and euros? If they don't have enough dollars and euros in their economy, the value of their exchange rate goes down, because their money is considered worthless by the central bankers. Because the central bankers control price discovery. They own those FX industries. They can destroy the value of the Egyptian pound or the naira with a few paper shorts in the morning, and that's it. Boom, your prices, your whole country is 20% poorer. And that's what's happened. They have that power. They can do the same thing to gold or silver, and they have that. This is the problem. They control price discovery. So if any one of these guys in the global south steps out of line, they're going to get the call. And the call is going to be like, hey, you're doing something we don't like. Don't you know? We can make you a whole lot poorer overnight, and you better step in line. That's it. They don't need guns. They don't need the Marines to land. They control price discovery. It's a little mad wizard on this dashboard of evil, and he's got the little levers. When we punish him, this guy's sucking up real nice. Let me give him a little bit more. And this is what we're up against.
Yeah. So how does that quote unquote war play out? How does Bitcoin take over Africa and South America? It's like people like Bukele, will they show up in Africa as well, or is this a roots movement, grassroots movement?
Yeah, there's not going to be a Bukele enough, because the pressures are very different. Remember, Bukele's already using the US dollar, so they can't get him with the whole inflationary currency wars attack. Right. He was also very, I don't like to use the word egotistical, I'm a fan of Bukele, but he had an objective, and it was he just pursued it. But the Africans are going to be far more practical, right? They want things that are going to make them money, help them save money, let them use their money. It's very, very practical. And they're towing a very fine line. Because remember, African leaders that step out of line end up dead. People always ask, hey, Africa's poor because it's corrupt. Isn't that it? They're all corrupt. Well, yeah, almost all the leaders are quote unquote corrupted because they see what happens to the non-corrupt leaders. They get killed. Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso, killed by the Americans. Patrice Lumumba, killed by the French and the Belgian. They boiled his body in sulfuric acid, sent back his molar 61 years later to his family. And this is why you never hear about it. We're hearing about what's happening in the Middle East right now, and it's terror beyond terror. But this has been happening behind the scenes throughout the entire global south for the past 100 years. And no one hears about this. So naturally, the leaders over there are scared. They don't want to do anything. So how can Bitcoin help? That's the question, right? So it's more like, how can the global south take over Bitcoin rather than how Bitcoin can take the global south? You have to see it in that way, and then it works, right? Because when you go there, if you go there, you try to push them on Bitcoin. Hey, there's this great libertarian technology where you can store your own keys, and it'll stay there and face and look at you, and they're like, white boy problems. They're just like, all right. But if you go to them and you're like, they smell scam, right? But if you go to Africa, so many people have been scammed by all this crypto stuff. And before crypto, they were scammed by the MLM stuff. And the MLM guys got into crypto as seen as their superior form of money transmission. Mm-hmm. But that's the key. It's the transmission that they have a problem with. If you tell them, hey, hold on a second. You don't have to invest in this, and you don't have to care about the technology either. We're not going to get into ones and zeros and start writing code right now. This is a very simple way for you to do things you couldn't do before. And if you so choose, start your own money services business on this platform. It's a platform, and make money move and make profit. And you start giving them examples, right? Like, hey, I tell, this is a great example I use all the time. I have a friend in Berlin. She's got, a sister in Kenya. She sends money over with Western Union. Sister has to go pick it up in cash, go wait online. She pays a huge fee, but forget the fee for a moment. So I asked her, okay, does your sister have an M-Pesa account? That's like the top mobile wallet in Kenya.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. I'm like, give me her number. So I go into the peer-to-peer marketplace that I was running, and I search in Kenya. Is anyone here that wants to buy Bitcoin? Pay with mobile money, M-Pesa? And I find a guy, several, but this guy had the best price. He was willing to pay 4% over market because Bitcoin is more scarce in Kenya. I was like, I started trade with him. He says, give me the number. So I give my friend's sister's M-Pesa number. The Bitcoin is in escrow, so he sends it first. And then my friend gets a text from her sister, and she's like, hey, my sister's asking where this money came from. She got 104 euros worth of Kenyan shillings, but this guy was willing to pay 4% over market price. So I sent 100 euros to Kenya at a 4% bonus. And her sister got it instantly, and she could spend it on her M-Pesa. My friend looked at me and like, can you do that again? I'm like, yeah, you can do it anytime. This guy's always buying. She's like, can I do it myself? I'm like, yeah. And I just showed her how to do it. Next thing you know, she's doing remittances. She's acting as a little Western Union for all of her Kenyan school teacher friends. And she's making a huge profit. She's making 4% on the Bitcoin. She's charging them, I think, anywhere from 5 to 9%. So she's making like a 10% profit. Her friends are getting the deal at half the price, and her friends and family can spend it immediately. It's a huge win for everybody. And you can do that to get money into the global south, which is called remittance. And you can use that to get money out of the global south to merchants in the global south or whoever can make payments or buy stuff on eBay or whatever. That's called payments. It just allows the money to flow around.
Yeah.
And if you're smart and you have a community, you can start a business with it, whether it's a Western Union or a PayPal or whatever it might be. And that's what people on the platform I built did. Now, this works so well in the global south. There's a lot of smart young people that have these huge problems, very ambitious and hungry. So I kind of created this marketplace of arbitrage traders, peer-to-peer arbitrage traders. And it's a humongous business. People have no idea how big it is, and it's only going to grow. The problem is, there's Bitcoin that acts as the clearing layer for this, the wallet, but you still need the order book, like the listing of all the offers, like, hey, I got a $100 Amazon gift card here. Give me $70 for Bitcoin for it, right? Or, hey, I want to make a bank transfer. I want to pay a bill in South Africa or Finland. Maybe I can borrow your Finnish bank account for one transaction. Now here I'll pay you with the Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
So there's all these things that you can do. And I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
Yeah. Well,
it always happens.
Yeah.
But two handsome guys like you, I'm talking.
The M-Pesa is a funny story in itself, right? I read somewhere there was like 70% of the Kenyan economy at some point. Like,
it's
really took over.
It's more.
It's more now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, how would you describe that? It's like prepaid SIM cards or
it's like PayPal on a mobile wallet. M-Pesa, that's what it is. The top telco there is called Safaricom. And they just started, letting people be able to send money with an SMS.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. It wasn't even SMS. They used USSD, which is like interactive SMS. So before most of M-Pesa is not even on smartphones. People are sending out little gray menus on the Nokias. That's how they're using it. And when you think about it, it makes logical sense because the same way you send a text message, you should be able to send value.
Yeah.
Right? And most of M-Pesa is still on SMS and USSD, and it works.
Yeah, and if that could happen to a shitcoin like M-Pesa, I mean, imagine like the Bitcoin adoption could actually be quicker.
Absolutely. And you have companies like Manchankura building on USSD, trying to make all that happen. So we have the bits and pieces out, and we have Lightning over there, and we got, Manchankura over here, and we got, peer-to-peer marketplaces like that one I built over there. And we've got decentralized market protocols over here, but someone has to bring all that together. Someone that the people trust, was in the global South. They want to know who's running this thing. There has to be a person behind it, right? It's just the way it is. Someone has to bring that all together and make it into a cocktail that everyone can drink. That's hard. And that's one of the reasons that I started CivKit. Because, peer-to-peer marketplaces like the one I built, they work. They work great. We got the 13 million users, completely bootstrapped. Awesome achievement. But it was quite stoppable, right? Because I had a huge dispute with my co-founder. All this drama happened, lawsuit, this, that. And more importantly, U.S. regulations. It was an American company. There's no way a U.S. company can serve the global South, because the U.S. compliance and regulations are not just dumb, but they're inherently racist. They exclude everyone, right? That's what they're designed to do. So I was trying to bridge these two worlds, and we were trying. We spent a fortune on compliance, but it's impossible, because the system is designed on the other side not to serve those people and actually to punish those people. It truly is. And I tell you, as someone who for 8 years broke his back, at one point we had a company of 450 people and there were 88 compliance people. 1/5 of the company was compliant. This is more than any bank anywhere, and it still wasn't enough. And the horror stories that I can tell you, and this is very close to my heart, because imagine you're some dude in Africa, you're working hard, you built this whole business, all your money is here in this wallet. And then you get this email, your account has been frozen. Your funds are suspended. Reason, we can't give you a reason, sorry, against the law. You're like, what did I do? Yeah. This guy just stole my money. No, it's because we got a severe alert from Chainalysis. Yeah. 3 years ago, this African got $22 from someone in Iran. Take his lock up all his money right now, and then use it. What the? This is reality, man. This is what happens on at scale. Yeah, I'm not going to run a business like that. It did help people and continues to help people, but I have to run a humane business, and that's not humane, because it's not set up to be humane. It's set up for evil. It's set up for evil from the start. And that's the situation right there. So what we need to do is we need a permissionless, unstoppable, free market built on Bitcoin. That's what makes it permissionless and unstoppable, right? That can serve, the entire world via OTC peer-to-peer. Anyone should be able to sell anything to anyone. That's what we need. And that's what I'm building.
Yeah, no, a company, the concept of a company, on a Bitcoin standard, there's nothing but a Telegram group, really. Like, you don't need any of the other stuff. It's just people.
Yeah, so it's nothing but a Telegram group. The problem, you can run it that way, and that's great. But, the problem is Uncle Sam. Yeah. Uncle Sam's arm is, and they're going to be looking, how can we put these boys here over in jail over here? So it's always looking to do, man. And so you have to build a system that is completely decentralized, where you don't hold customer funds, where you don't make money off the protocol. Because if you make money off the protocol, Uncle Sam, hey boy, going a little too fast. That's what's going on. So you have to be thinking defensively and adversarially, because you have an adversary chasing you who's highly aggressive. So that's why CivKit is a protocol. There's no corporation, there's no foundation. It's just a, GitHub and, a Discord, Telegram group, and that's it. And if someone wants to build a marketplace on there, I want to make it as easy as possible for anyone to start their own marketplace. As easy as setting up a WordPress blog is, you should be able to set up a marketplace. That's what I want, because I want thousands of marketplaces all over the world, competing with each other, competing with me, sharing liquidity. So we're all helping each other make money, and we're just getting that free trade going. Because free trade makes wealth. It makes money for people. That's why business is so good, because it unlocks the power of humanity in that we can put our hands to work over here doing this, and it might be worth a hell of a lot more to someone over that ocean over there. And I might go over there so damn, and the man, he has got something I want. And that's money allows human cooperation to scale over time and space, which is tremendously powerful, because you unlock that magic key of this, I don't know what to call it, human exponential value generation. Like somehow God designed that in us. That's what we have that's so special about us. Our output can be so tremendous. We can be so generative. You see it in our creativity, right? And no other facet of creation has this. And that's what the dark side is afraid of. Oh, these humans get together and they trade freely. Oh man, they're going to break away like crazy. You're going to have cities like Dubai busting out all over the global south. It's going to happen, and it can happen fast. And that's what scares them. Because look, if you're thinking adversarially in Bitcoin, you got to get down to earth. I'm a maxi, I love Bitcoin, but here all these people online, they're like, Bitcoin is God. Bitcoin can never be defeated. And it's like, man, bro, those Americans doing it too, man. We take everything into a cult, bro. And like, you hold on, chill out, bro. This is a battle here, man. They've had 14 years to think about how to counter us. And they know they don't have to defeat Bitcoin or make it completely go away. They can just make it irrelevant. So how do you make Bitcoin irrelevant? What if all the Bitcoin, or the vast majority of the free-floating Bitcoin, was not freely floating anymore, was in bank vaults, protected by layers of AML and KYC? And now in the UK, by Jan 6th, you're going to have to take a test, a quiz to be able to buy Bitcoin, right? And if you fail it 3 times, you're firm banned. You can only put 10% of your assets in. There's it's all of these barriers are going to be coming in. And that happens when Bitcoin is just an asset class sitting in vaults, and it's irrelevant, and they won, and they know that. So now we know they know that. What are we going to do?
Okay, we have some big news. We have a new lead sponsor, Amber App. They're the #1 exchange in the Southern Hemisphere. They're rated for the best customer service around, and their global launch is coming. But the reason we're partnering with Amber App is because of the people. If you haven't listened to our episode with Izzy, CEO of Amber App, you really should go check it out. You'll see why it made perfect sense to partner with Izzy and Amber App. That's all I'll say for now. You really have to check it out for yourself. They have loads of great features coming that we're excited to share with you when the time comes. But for now, just check out the episode, check out their website, amber.app. You can see for yourself why we're thrilled to bring Amber App on as our lead sponsor and partner. So go check it out. Next up, Wasabi Wallet, the privacy by default, open source, non-custodial Bitcoin wallet with CoinJoin built in. It's the easy to use, comprehensive, affordable way to make your coins private. And the best part is they've been making huge improvements to the app. They're really focusing on the user experience, adding advanced features for power users. They just keep getting better. You send your coins to your Wasabi wallet and they get combined with loads of other coins using the Wabi-Sabi protocol, so they're private on the other end. Your tracks are covered, so you can work on expanding your freedom footprint without worrying about your privacy. So check out wasabiwallet.io and download Wasabi today.
So I got some numbers from Sweden, where I'm from, about how many people may or may not hold Bitcoin, not counting boating accidents. But from one of the exchanges there, they've had 300,000 customers over the years. And there's another big exchange. So, of course, there's some overlap. But if you add another 100,000 and maybe another 100,000, they got it from an international exchange or because they sold something. Let's say 5, and it's a country with a population of 10 million. So say like 5% of the population holds Bitcoin, which means 5% of the population is able to pay other people in Bitcoin. But 100% of the population is already, they already have the capability to accept Bitcoin. I mean, everyone does. Accepting Bitcoin is easy. It's like, well, you can't acquire them if you don't have them in the first place, but you can always sell something for it. So the way I see it is that this economy is already bootstrapped. It's already there. It's just that we need more and more people to figure out that the old system is bullshit, so they can start accepting Bitcoin for the goods and services, and then this happens naturally. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so the first business I started in Bitcoin wasn't actually my old marketplace. It was before that I made a POS for retail merchants to accept Bitcoin. This was back in like 2014. And it didn't work. For a year, I went around begging the hot dog dealers and bartenders and restaurants to accept Bitcoin. And Some did, my good buddies did, but no one came in to pay with it because no one had any Bitcoin. So they everyone forgot how to use it. Like, this is bullshit. So there are some core problems to fix there. We're all dreaming of the day that we can buy a latte with Bitcoin. And we think that, we've made it. We've created a circular economy. And I've come to see that that will indeed happen one day, but not if you try to pursue it on that level. It's not going to work. We have to go where the traction is, and that means we have to go to where the problems are, just like any good entrepreneur. And I don't see bakeries, saying, hey, man, everyone's trying to come here and pay with Bitcoin, bro. We got to accept some Bitcoin. That's not a problem they have, because there's no demand. So we have to go where the demand is, where the problems are, and that's the global south. That's places like Egypt, Nigeria, etc. People there can't, send money out of the country because of the capital controls, right? Huge problems there. Massive problem. They can't even send money to the country next door, because of how broken the system is over there, and more capital controls. And that's why when you start to appreciate how deep the problem is over there, it's mind blowing. I even gave it a name. I call it financial apartheid. Because that's really what it is. It's like, you want to talk about racial apartheid? Yeah, okay, I can't go use that bathroom over there. Okay, that's, whatever. But if my money is trapped in where I was born, and I can't even send it to the country next door, I can't access liquidity opportunities outside of the country. I can't even buy stuff outside of the country. If my friends and family outside of the country in California would want to send me money, I lose 50% each time. Like, what's going on? The government isn't even getting the lion's share of that. It's Western Union. So the entire area is just being screwed over. That is a real problem. That's what keeps you poor. I'm happy to use my own bathroom. As long as I have money, I'll build a great bathroom. But if you're kept poor, like, that is the worst form of apartheid. Financial apartheid is the most devastating. The problems that the global south has with money are so extreme, it's hard for us to appreciate. We have to solve that problem. Like, who cares when you're buying a latte? I can buy the latte from you. Well, that's fine. I'll order the best coffee made from raccoon poop from, Peru or wherever. I'll get it here and I'll set up a whole, that's the real problem here. So let's focus on that. Let's focus on building a system of transfer where we can move money into the country, move money out of the country, move money pan-African, pan-Latin America, pan-Southeast Asian with no problems. We do that and we're going to see an explosion of wealth. Think of it like this. How rich would America be if I couldn't send money from New York to New Jersey? If I had to go through huge conversions, capital controls, all this red tape, would America be the most richest country in the world? No, it'd be a third world country. And that's the situation in Africa. There's 50 countries, 54 countries. It's possible to even send money from one country to the country next door, even with mobile money. With mobile money, M-Pesa is in actually 10 different African countries. I cannot send money from an M-Pesa account in Ghana to an M-Pesa account in Kenya. Financial apartheid is real, man. Yeah. Bitcoin has to focus on solving that. And that's hard. That's extremely hard to build a marketplace. Extremely hard. The hardest challenge in a marketplace is the fraud. Because you're dealing with people online you've never met before. The Bitcoin is there. You can ensure that, that's there because it's trustless. But what about the fiat side of the transaction? How do you know the gift card is good? How do you know this guy is actually in charge of that bank account or PayPal account? How do you know this guy won't charge back the debit card? Right? That's the hard part. And I spent 8 years of my life, building a system that was quite reasonably the most secure the world has ever seen. Less than 1% of our transactions had a dispute. And almost all of them were just with the highly risky methods like gift cards, right? Mm-hmm. So Bitcoin needs to focus on the biggest problem, and that's OTC, over-the-counter money transfer, peer-to-peer. That, if we get all of these arbitrage traders doing that, all the people going to these marketplace apps built on this marketplace to do what they need to do, man, you're going to see tremendous volume moving across Bitcoin. And eventually, those people are going to be like, some of those people getting those services won't even know Bitcoin exists. A good financial services vendor will abstract away that whole process for granny, But eventually, if Bitcoin is powering all of these rails, man, it's going to start to trickle down. It's not just the people that are handling it on the business side, but other people are going to want to come in and understand how this thing works. And that's how you get a technology. And it might be invisible at first, and then it'll become more visible as a store of value, as an asset, and maybe even an ethos. But coming up to the people of Global South, being hallelujah, welcome to the gospel of Bitcoin, that strategy doesn't work. And it doesn't work with the retail merchants either, because you're not solving a problem that they have. But the peer-to-peer angle does work. So it makes people rich. Every week I get pictures. Hey, here's my new Lexus. Here's my new house. I built my business on your platform. Oh, man, I love Bitcoin.
So the monetary apartheid that you're talking about, like there's been a bunch of uprisings in the old French colonies of West Africa, like Niger and Senegal and stuff. Like, are those countries in a different situation than the other African countries? Or do you see Bitcoin adoption happening there first because they're more aware of the problem because of that French franc bullshit?
Well, yeah, they're in the same financial situation as those other countries. The difference there is their leadership. They actually had a situation where their leaders, said, you know what, enough is enough. They broke out. They've managed to survive up until now. And they managed to get intelligence from another superpower, Russia and China in this case, and they're continuing to stay alive. But financially speaking, they're still in the same situation as all these other countries, in that they're all sitting there and waiting and being like, hey, bro, when is this new global financial architecture you guys been talking about been ready, huh? And they're looking at us and we're in crypto and being like, there's a bunch of scammers and dudes in wizards hats, and apparently these guys like meat a lot. And they're like, no, this is not what we're waiting for. Like, show us that this thing works for us. Show us that we can use this to build corridors, just like the BRICS nations are building corridors, right? And that's what we have to do. We have to build a new global financial architecture that all these folks are waiting for. Now, great, you can self-custody your Bitcoin just like you were the bank. Great, that's nice. But all they want to do is trade. Trade is the main thing. That's what Bitcoin is really about. It's about making the money flow around. Satoshi Nakamoto knew that. That's why the first version of Bitcoin Core, the very first version, had 11 opcodes in there for marketplace functions, inventory, escrow. They were removed later because they were cluttering things up and Satoshi left. But of course, it's all about the marketplace. That's what
money is worthless without trade.
Like, exactly. That's what it's for. It's all about the trade, man. Yeah. That's all it's about, to exchange human value across time and space. So we need that marketplace. We have to build that marketplace. Now, a marketplace is cool, but when you really get deep into marketplaces, and I can say I have some authority there, you start to see that, the core services that are required to build a marketplace are actually like 99% of governance, Yeah. It is what that's what we called it, civilization kit instead of market kit, because you got your marketplace, which is just like an order book, like Craigslist, a payment with a condition, like all our debit cards have, the escrow, the auth hold, and a wallet, right? And we already have the wallet part, non-custodial Lightning wallets. That's great. The order book we're building on Nostr, and the escrow we're building on Bitcoin discrete log contracts and Bitcoin script, right? So we're building all this. That's nice. We're going to have that. And that's what every other marketplace system has. But that's not enough, man. That's just like the basics of the basics. There's 3 other ancillary services that you need in order to make it work. Let's combine our water bottles for an epic presentation. All right, look at so here. 3 water bottles represent these 3 ancillary services, right? So the first thing you need is reputation, right? And reputation for a lot of reasons. So people can know who to trust when they're doing a trade. Like, how much volume has this guy done? With how many people? How important were they? And also just to keep the order book clean from spammers and basics like that, right? You need some form of reputation. Now, of course, the OPSEC people will be like, it should be anonymous. Your pub key should be the only identity you need. And of course, yes, you can be purely anonymous if you so choose. But guess what? In a peer-to-peer trade, sometimes you want to know who you're dealing with. If I'm going to if I ask you to use your Swedish bank account to make a payment for me for Swedish cookies or whatnot, but I hear they're really good, you don't want to know, who is this guy, me, and who am I actually sending the money to? Is it really a Swedish cookie company? Or is it, some dude selling weed, right? You don't want to ID me in case your bank gets back to you, right?
Yeah.
You want to protect yourself. And that's fine. You should be able to do that. So you need some form of decentralized identity that is purely optional. Because once you have that and reputation, you open up a huge avenue, which is give people in the global south their own credit score. So you can send out credit and lending services as well. So it's essential to keep the marketplace clean, the order book, to keep the trading safe, and to extend out a credit score for people. So the reputation is needed. And to do it right, we're using something called Web of Stakes. We'll actually be able to calculate a Web of Trust score for everyone without revealing their graph. Very mucho importante, right? This is actually pretty heavy stuff. So it's needed. So all you OPSEC people, zip it. So the second thing you need is you need a stable unit of account, right? Because, Bitcoin is great, but during a trade, people prefer something stable. So they don't have to count, the price of Bitcoin goes down 20% during a trade. I get 20% less than what I bargained for. I'm screwed. Don't want that. So there should be some kind of stable e-cash. That is essentially the minting part, right? Which only civilizations do, nation states do, right? They mint their own money, right? So you need something like that. Of course, the e-cash is backed up by actual Bitcoin. So I love Tether. Tether's awesome. It's a huge use case. But Uncle Sam doesn't like Tether. So we have to think defensively, right? So we need something stable unit account that is backed up by Bitcoin. And RGB, which the Tether guys are working on, seems to be very fruitful technology. Yep. So that'll also be within CivKit, right? Mucho importante. So far we have the reputation and identity, right? This is something ID cards usually come from governments, right? Passports, etc. We have the minting, right? Another huge government civilization grade service. And the last one, number 3, is also the hardest one, my good man. It's real hard, actually. And that is, I'm going to drink some of this Kool-Aid right now. Decentralized courts.
Oh, yeah.
Decentralized courts. We need a way, in case there's a financial dispute, and there always is, there will be recourse. So I built these, a system of financial arbitrators, but it was centralized. There's people working for Ray. That's why if someone loses their $50 gift card dispute, they'll come on Twitter and they'll say, Ray, you scammed me. You're in cahoots with the scammers, Ray. I'm like, no, bro, I'm not. But I can understand why they might think that way, because it's not a decentralized court system. What we need to have is a listing of all of these truth oracles, which is essentially what one of these judges would be, right? They're a truth oracle. And the system should randomly choose one that is best suited for you, that has the experience, that has the reputation, that, be able to handle your kind of trade, that speaks your language and the counterparty's language, and they'll get a fee. And there should be an appeals process as well. And that's one of the reasons why you also need the reputation score for the judges as well. So all these systems kind of work together, but without the decentralized court system, you'll never get true scale. It is critically important. Even if less than 1% of trades end up in dispute, that 1%, justice can keep the whole thing throttled.
Did you hear about a company called Dispute.io?
Yes, I have. Dispute.io.
Very Rothbardian way of thinking about courts.
He has a certain approach of doing it. I need to dig in deeper. I think he's here actually again.
Is he? Okay.
I'm not sure, but I'm supposed to have a call with him. But look, there's a company called Klarna, a Swedish company.
Yeah.
They do disputes for e-commerce.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about starting an entire new dispute cottage industry just for these peer-to-peer trades. Yeah. And the world will need it. And the more peer-to-peer grows, and it will, the bigger that industry's got. So if you guys want to start a bunch of dispute moderation business out of Sweden, you absolutely can. There'll be so much room for that. And that's what you get. You're getting now a truly decentralized civilization, because you've got this, baked in reputation, credit score, ID. You've got, stable e-cash backed up by the realest, most honest money in the world. And you have a global decentralized court system for decentralized justice. But who cares about DAOs, but you need a decentralized autonomous courts. That's what we really need, right? For justice. And if you have all these things combined, you can actually build a marketplace on them, on that will scale. That will scale to 1 billion or more people. And it'll actually give you everything you need to have your own government. Like, it really is. 99% of governance is about money. Like, who cares about the voting? Who cares about the protests or the deeds, whatever? All that stuff
What's a Rothschild quote? Like, give me the control of the country's monetary system, and I will not care about its laws any longer. And so.
Exactly. He wanted control precisely of the volume of money in circulation. And these things allow you to, they don't let anyone control the volume. The volume just grows organically, right? So it's all about this. This is basically the kernel of civilization in code. Like, these are the elements I just outlined for you. This is it. I've thought about this for years, and this is what's needed to make everything else on top of this. Like, whether you want to build a money market system on top of it or a DEX or whatever, these are just ancillary things to help, open up more products, more, opportunities for people. But this is the foundation.
Wonderful. And okay, so maybe a concrete question on this with the CivKit. And I understand, first of all, why that whenever you mentioned the peer-to-peer marketplace, that there was all the drama and all that. Don't need to go into that here, but the question is, since that's no longer something that you're working on or with or whatnot, what is the CivKit? First of all, a little bit TLDR, just in terms of we've been talking about it, but just to introduce it. But then, where do you see that going forward?
Yeah, so CivKit is just a protocol, just like Bitcoin, right? It's not a business. There's no foundation. There's no company. The protocol doesn't have any way to earn money, right? And it's decentralized, open source for life, right? And CivKit is built on Bitcoin, clearly. It's built on Master, and it's built on Tor. And there'll be other technologies coming there. But those three are the only truly decentralized private technologies that we have right now. And they're going to be the entire CivKit stack. It's going to be things like that, right? So CivKit is just a protocol. If you want to start your own marketplace, you want to start Canute Marketplace or Swede Marketplace, right? Like, whatever you want to call it, I will set it up such that, we'll have like a big CivKit.org is like WordPress.org. And then there'll be, let's say, CivKit.com or whatever you call it, where you'll be able to, go on, type in, I want to start Swede Marketplace. Okay, great. Send some sats, and we'll set up your CivKit node for you on DigitalOcean. You pay DigitalOcean, with that money, right? And that's it. We set it up. You put in the variables. I want my escrow fee to be this. I want, these payment methods supported, these currencies supported, et cetera. I want to sell these kinds of products, and boom, you've got your marketplace.
Yeah.
And we're gonna give away the front end code as a progressive web app, where it'll just be a Nostr relay browser, right? Where people can go on there real easy, search the marketplaces. Every single Swede marketplace will be there. Fez marketplace, Egyptian marketplace, Limey marketplace. All these marketplaces in the world will be there, and you can browse each one of them. Or you can do a search and browse the entire global order book, and everything will be there. People will be, of course, the killer app is OTC, because that's the biggest pain point, right? That's where it's hard to find any kind of services like that. But people, if they so choose, they can sell shoes or diapers or whatever they want on there, and no one can stop them, right? But the primary use case will be OTC. And if you start Swede Marketplace, you will earn money off every single trade that people are doing in your marketplace. You will earn money as sats. So you are incentivized to run a CivKit node. And that's how it'll work.
So how is the project funded? Like, how does CivKit make money? Like, or does it?
It doesn't. And that's by design. Yeah. I'm funding it myself. Me and my, Gregory, we're all funding it ourselves. And it's not a way for me to make money. It's a way for everyone to make a lot of money.
Okay.
That cannot be stopped. And if I'm smart and a good business entrepreneur, I'm going to build successful applications on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I am. I absolutely will. And I will make money off of those. I can't be stopped. And we're all going to share liquidity with everyone. It'll be noones.com, which is another great peer-to-peer startup. It'll be, Hodl, Bisq. Bitfinex has their own peer-to-peer. I would like to talk to all of them and say, hey, mirror your liquidity on CivKit, man. I'll start up a node for you, mirror your liquidity on there. you'll make more money because there'll be people coming in from all over that will trade with these vendors on your platform, and you will start to earn some of that. And because you don't custody any of their funds and it's anonymous, well, you have no compliance overhead, bro. We just brought you all this new business, right? And we're all sharing the liquidity, and we don't have any of this compliance or custody overhead. Who's going to hate me, man?
NCOB technology, you could call it that. No compliance overhead, bro. The technology.
That's right. Man, yeah. Well, look, I mean, I do believe, innovation-friendly regulation definitely has a place. I was like the first guy to go to the Nigerian government and be like, hey, what's up? Welcome from high. We're Bitcoin people. Let's work together. And they looked at me and they were like so happy. They're like, you're the first people that ever came to us. No one else even thought to that. I was like, this is great. So look, I'm confident that we can work with governments and we can come out with maybe something simple like a peer-to-peer license. If you were like a Hawala license, basically it's Hawala. You guys heard of Hawala? Imagine we have like...
Can you explain the concept?
Yeah, Hawala is just Arabic for money transfer. It's a system that started 1,000 years ago when these Muslim traders got around and said, hey man, this Roman Empire, they don't like third-party payments, right? They don't like, banks don't like it now either, where someone is helping you transact with across time or space because you're not there. They say, hey man, we need this third-party payments if we're going to run these multinational trading caravans, And they're like, all right, let's do it. And they create a system of peer-to-peer where, they didn't have a blockchain back then, but they had their holy book, the Quran, which is like the first immutable ledger on chain. So they trusted each other to settle between each other. And these Hawala agents would, like, for example, if I wanted to send money to my pops in Egypt, but I don't have an Egyptian bank account.
Wallah Akbar.
Allah Akbar. Yeah. Hawala, no, it's a different route there, but you'll have to lie because I get a nice try. So if I need some money to Egypt, I would, go to this guy on the corner. He might be running a hot dog stand. I'm like, yeah, he's got his little Washington Express sign. I'm like, hey, what's Washington Express? He's like, oh, my uncle Ahmed in Cairo, and Bangladesh, my cousin, Ishmael or whatever, they can move money around there. I'm like, oh, so if I give you $100 here, you can send them my pops in Cairo. He's like, yeah, sure. My cousin over there will do it. I'm like, okay, that's how you do it. That's Hawala. That's it. That guy and his cousin over in Cairo and in Bangladesh or wherever, they have a trust relationship. Now with Bitcoin, it's like Hawala 2.0 was with these peer-to-peer marketplaces. They can introduce people to all of these cousins around the world that you trust, or brothers, or magical money friends that will let you borrow.
Nigerian princes.
Yeah, let you borrow your bank account, cash, or whatever payment method. And the money is secure because they'll go first. They'll give the money out first because they see the crypto is there, right? The Bitcoin. So that's what Hawala is.
The show is also sponsored by Orange Pill app, the Bitcoin-only social network where you can stack friends who stack sats. You can connect with your favorite Bitcoiners on the app, make local connections, and even connect with Bitcoiners around the world. You can see what's going on in your area and organize and attend local events. I've been to multiple events organized on Orange Pill app, and they brought Bitcoiners together from all over. And now, with group chat, it's easier than ever to stay in touch with all your Bitcoin friends. The best part is, it's high signal. There's no spam on Orange Pill app because everyone pays to be there. So download Orange Pill app on Apple or Android and start building your local network of Bitcoiners. Next up, the Bitcoin Way. Their mission is to onboard, educate, and remove barriers to taking self-custody of your Bitcoin. They cover everything from cold wallets to nodes, no KYC Bitcoin purchases, inheritance planning, payments, and more. Whether you're new to Bitcoin or you're an experienced Bitcoiner looking to expand your freedom footprint, or you know someone who this sounds perfect for, the Bitcoin Way has something for you. They have a skilled team, well-versed in the Bitcoin space, and their goal is to make all the complexities of Bitcoin as straightforward as possible for everyone. And the best part is you can get started with a free 30-minute call with their team. Go to thebitcoinway.com/contact for more info. Our newest sponsor is Geyser. They are the portal to the creator economy on Bitcoin. On Geyser, creators can monetize their work through their communities in a social and engaging way, and supporters can send sats to their favorite projects. Geyser has also recently integrated with Zaps and Podcasting 2.0, so every Zap sent to a Geyser address shows up on the Geyser page. We have a Geyser fund ourselves. It's the best way to support our show directly with Bitcoin. So whether you're a creator or a supporter, check out Geyser at geyser.fund today.
I lost my train of thought. What were we talking
What was
about?
the question before that?
Well, the connection to CivKit and how this system is going to not only grow with the technology, but what do you see this actually doing in the next few years? Because you wouldn't have come up with it, I think, if you didn't see this actually becoming adopted, right?
Yeah, so I see a huge need for this because I was running peer-to-peer marketplace myself. Every week, I get a couple of emails. Hey, you guys offer white labels. We want to have our own peer-to-peer marketplace. Finally, CZ came to me and was like, yo, man, let's do a deal. And we did a deal. They used one of our products, but really they were just there to copy our whole marketplace. And he did, which is fine. Business is business. But instead of CZ stealing my idea, why doesn't everyone steal my idea? How about that? And I help them steal my idea. Well, it's not really my idea. Local Bitcoins did it first. I stole it from them. So let's open up the floodgates, man. Let's let everyone have their own peer-to-peer market, even like little communities. A whole nation state wants to get on. It should be able to work. You want to get on the Bitcoin standard for real, and not just the wallet, the whole shebang? Get on CivKit. It's a civilization toolkit for like a reason. That name is not a mistake. Because what we're living in right now is not civilization. It is literally just a little system of pressure chambers that are gauged and controlled with a certain gradient by some evil wizard with a switchboard dashboard of evil. And we're just tired of it, man. We're just tired of being poor. We're tired of living. You know, we're not like, there's a type 1 civilization, type 2, type 3. We're not even near type 1. No, we're like a type 0.00 -1, man. It gets bad. We should be far, far ahead. We should have had flying cars by the 50s, man. Let's be honest. I'm sick and tired of living in the ghetto. You know, we can do a hell of a lot better. And that's all CivKit is. People have been asking me for this. I see a tremendous need for this. My head is not up in the clouds. It's on my feet or on the ground. You know, I've been in the global south. I see what people are doing. I see the problems that they have. So, hey, I didn't see anyone else delivering this to them. You know, it's like most CEOs are too afraid to talk to their customers. They almost have an apathy or they're scared. I love these people and they love me. So I'm going to give them exactly what they need. And that's what CivKit is.
Fantastic. Building type 2 civilizations from scratch.
Exactly. Fantastic.
Yeah. Let's get to type 1 first, bro.
Type 1. I always mix those up.
We should be like, we're not even at type 0. Come on.
But even type 2 civilization starts on Earth and stops with somewhere around Uranus. Well, it's all about humans. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, it really is. And, I don't want to go too deep down the rabbit hole here, but, I'm only concerned about this world. And I don't care about the moon or Mars or Saturn, Uranus or whatever. Forget them.
But even Mars is outside of the hash horizon, so we couldn't sync the Bitcoin blockchain on Mars. But that's a whole different discussion. So.
Yeah, I'm concerned with right here on Earth. Get that right, and that's it. That's all any human should be concerned about. Do not be losing your head in the stars or any of this. Let's get it right over here. Trust me, that's going to be hard enough, man. We're fighting for the whole universe here, guys. We're in the final round here. And by final round, I mean we're living through a very special time right now, right? We're essentially in the what you going to do about it phase. Because the face of evil is just like the mask is just dropped. And they're like, hey, what are you going to do about it? Yeah. They're challenging our humanity right now. What are you going to do about it? We can do whatever we want. What are you going to do? Because they want to create a matrix of control where escape is not just impossible, but unthinkable. Because they've got it on the money side. They have the full information side of control.
1984.
Yeah, taken to the maximum. Taken to the
steroids.
Exactly. They're not going to get it.
Constant boot to the face. That's the alternative.
Yeah, so we either win or we die. Because I don't want to live in a world like that. I don't want to raise children in a world like that. So the urgency is on. We don't have more than 6.5 years. They're talking about 2030 real hard. And you guys have seen for the past 3 years since 2020, there's been 4 different PSYOPs, global in scope, 4. The rate is increasing. Like up to 2030, it's going to become, hey, every 3 months, there's going to be a new PSYOP. And every month, every week, they are not stopping. And they have had 2,000 years to plan all this.
And it becomes a virtue signaling mechanism to follow the new rules that they impose on people.
They're programmed the compliance into the minds of almost everyone. That's why it's a zombie apocalypse. That's what it is. Like these people are, a new thing. A new thing. It's sad to see, but honestly, we don't need 95% of the population to be with us to win this thing. Even just a dedicated and determined 3% of the population can win this thing. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's the power of the human spirit. It's not about the numbers. It's about the will. You have to be willing to do what the other guy is not to win. It doesn't matter if he's bigger, faster, stronger, has more money, whatever. Trust me. If you're in a fight, if you've been in enough fights, you realize that. And we're in a fight now, believe me.
So you said, with all this in mind, that you've got your feet firmly on the ground. Is there a head in the clouds to this where you have some optimism?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I know what the prophecies are. I used to be an atheist, but then I began to see that the people that actually run the world do believe in this crazy comic book nonsense. I began looking for spiritual depth. Look, we're going to win. The good guys are going to win. We're absolutely going to win. There's a lot of confidence from knowing you're going to win. It's a little scary right now because we're all looking for that path, right? Like, how are we going to get to the win? And these guys control the nuclear weapons, all these big boats and arrows of fire and playing like warplanes. And oh my God, there is a path, and the path is to the money. We have to take the pillar of power that these guys took first, focus everything on that, focus all of our energy on the global south because they're ready to move. And man, the opportunities will present itself. It's like driving from New York to Los Angeles, right? You can't see the 3,000 miles ahead of you. You're only seeing 10 meters ahead of you with those headlights. But that's enough with the faith that you're going to get there to actually get there. So we just have to keep going. It's all about the struggle. This world is a test. If it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be fun, and it wouldn't be worthy of heaven. So enjoy the test and aim for heaven number 7, seventh heaven. That's the spot. That's my home. That's where I'm going back. You guys can keep all this.
I think that's a great spot to wrap this up on. I'd say, as we say here, as we were talking about with Izzy, like all you need to do is focus on the orange glowing light. And you're certainly a ray of orange glowing light, Ray. So thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you, brother.
And now let's go back to the conference and have some lunch.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. This has been the Freedom Footprint Show. Soft ending.
Yes,
Cheers.
sir. Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Yep. Appreciate it.